Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we are going to be working on this front corner of the city right here. And we've worked on this corner of the city for a number of times recently, but I want to go in and I want to add one more major detail to this area here. But as you can see in previous videos, we've added the corner kiosk, which was a gift with purchase with the Tudor corner. And we've also added the bonsai tree along with all of this detail out front here. And also we have the platform, obviously, and then the train station. But I want to fill in this area here today, which starts from about here and then kind of curves over throughout here. And so with that, what I want to do is I want to actually take one of my oldest train sets, which is not that old actually, it's from 2010, but it is the Hogwarts Express from 2010. And I want to go ahead and I want to add this coach right here, almost as like a railway museum. I think that would be a really nice way to fill in the area and also really make this look good and add a nice pop of color. So with that being said, I'm going to get started. I'm going to take the coach out. That is step one. And then we're going to go ahead and we are going to rip up some of the Mills plate here and start to figure out how exactly this is going to look. All right, so before we get started on actually ripping everything up, I want to just assess the two options that I have, which is the types of train track that I want to include here. The first option is to obviously use the standard track pieces that are used throughout the city and then actually interlock with each other. And then the second option here, as you can already see, is these individual rail pieces here. And so this is actually the option that I'm leaning more towards just because they're a little bit more versatile and I can more easily embed them into the ground, I think. So that is pretty much that there. And I also want to save these for when I eventually expand the layout. So that is pretty much that there. But with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and rip up some of these 4x4 plates and then start to map out where exactly I want this to be. So at the moment, this is probably where I want it, or within, a stud or two of this. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to play around with a couple different designs here in different locations, and then I'll try the passenger coach in there, and then we can see how it looks. So what's really nice about building the entire city on a Mills plate is that whenever you need to, you can actually dip into the Mills plate as well to help create depth. So instead of having everything on top of the base plate, you can have stuff embedded in it. And I think that's going to help this a lot here. And so as you can see, I took out all of the brick in here. I took out all of the plate that was here. So now this is looking a lot better. And I just have the rails on the side to basically guide how much I needed to take out. But now that that's done, we can go in and we can start to add all of the dark gray in there, and then we can add the rails, and we can add the rail ties, and then we can add the coach, which is right here. And then we can go ahead and we can add the details around it, and then that is going to be everything. And so I'm going to get back to work on this. I just wanted to quickly show you guys the little pit that I made, and then we can go ahead and move on. Part of the problem I'm having with this is actually right here, and this is a seam between the two base plates. So this over here, where the bonsai tree is one base plate, and then this base plate over here is a separate one. And so they only make this rail piece in segments of 16. So I either have to take this and put it over both of the base plates, or I have to move everything over 4 studs, but then it's going to get in the way of the path here. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to change this. So I'm going to have to just put the rail plate or the rail over the different base plates, which is fine. I'm not really worried about it. I'm just going to use 4x4s over here to keep the base plates separate as much as I can. And then hopefully it should be easy enough to come in and just take out the rails themselves if I ever need to separate these two base plates. So that's my thought process with that. But with that, that is the entire base structure done. And then so now I can just go in and add back in all of the rails. And this is already starting to shape up pretty nicely. So pretty happy with that. I think that looks pretty good. And so now we can go ahead, start to add all of the details like the rail ties and then all of the foliage and the stuff around it. And then we can go ahead and figure out if we're going to put buffers or if we're just going to put like a brick under one of these bogies or something. So I'm going to figure all that out in just a second here, but I'm going to get back to work and then I'll show you guys any progress that I make. So I decided to go with the brown rail ties, as you can see, and I think that makes for a bit of a more distinct look because on the normal railway, I have black and the occasional dark brown. And then I thought the brown or the reddish brown would look a lot better and give it a nice pop of color. And so if we just bring this over and test fit it here, I think that looks pretty good. And I am pretty happy with that, actually. I would probably center it a little bit more. And so now it's time to go in and add the details, but you're probably wondering why I'm not making a custom coach for this area here, or why I'm not even using the Wild West train one, which I can grab in just a second. You're probably wondering why I'm not using either of those methods to create a custom one or using a more detailed version. And that's because this was the first Lego train that I had. I had Duplo trains, but this was the first system train that I had, and so I want to be able to display it. Unfortunately, the entire train won't fit here. If it did, I would probably put it here, but I think at least putting the coach is a nice callback to that, and so I'm going to keep the coach here because I like it. Maybe one day we can swap it out for a custom one, or by the end of the video, I'll at least try the Wild West train one here to see how that looks, but that's why I'm choosing to use this 2010 Hogwarts Express one. It has next to no detail, it has no doors, and it's a 6-wide build, but this was my first train, and it is awesome. I really like it, even to this day. It's so simple, but it works. So that's why I'm using this. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start to add all of the details around the area, like foliage and of some other stuff as well. I decided to go with the rail ties a little farther apart than I was expecting to. I was expecting to just do the same as this, where it's just one tile, a gap, and then another tile, a gap, a tile, and then you kind of just go from there. Whereas with this, I did 2 stud gap in between each of the ties, and I don't know how I feel about that. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. It doesn't bother me that much. I think it actually looks pretty good, but I'm curious to see your guys' opinions on it. So with that being said, I'm going to go in and I'm going to start to add some detail. I think I'm going to start in the back corner and then kind of work my way towards the front here. So I'm going to get started and I'll show you guys what I come up with. All right, so I'm pretty much just going through and adding a bunch of these 3-leaf pieces down onto the Mills plate, and then I'm going to make a bunch of picnic tables and then also a bench for next to the bonsai tree. I've wanted to do that for a while and I'm finally getting around to it, and I think this area is really starting to come together. All right, so I've gone through and like you saw, I added a bunch of these 3-leaf pieces around the edge and also next to the train station right there, and then all the way throughout here as well, and then right next to the wall and also the bonsai tree itself. I think I'm gonna leave this open or do something kind of like this here, where it's just the green flower pieces in between the picnic tables and the bench, just so that it's not too overgrown, but then there is just a little bit of detail. So I think that's going to be the way to go. And then with this, I'm not going to go as crazy as I did with this, but it'll probably look something like this. So that's kind of my thought. And then this can all kind of blend together nicely. And I did also add a couple of leaves onto the track base here. And I'm probably going to also add couple of other details in it as well, just to make it look a little bit more blend in. And then that is what we're up to right now. And then the picnic tables are the same design from the video from the other day, which was where I added your suggestions to the city. So thank you guys for all of your suggestions on that. I really appreciate it. And these picnic tables look really, really great over here. And then this bench right here, I think is looking pretty good as well. And it is a little hidden because it's under the bonsai tree, but I think it works. And I think it looks pretty good. I couldn't find any of these clips in brown. You can see I have them in tan here. So I'm going to need to find those or order them or something, but it's just 2 clips, so I'm not super worried about it. I should have those. And so that is pretty much that. So that's everything we've gotten up to so far. And so now I'm going to go in, I'm going to add the next layer of detail. And then hopefully by the time you see this next, it will be almost done. All right, so all of the details are now in. And so as you can see here, the bench is looking really, really good. And then all of the foliage behind it is also looking really good. And for most of the area, like you saw earlier, it's just the green flower pieces. I didn't want to go too crazy with it because people would be walking through here to get to the benches and then maybe to take a picture with the passenger car or something like that. And then on the back here is a little bit more of dense foliage to kind of match what's on this side as well as over here. And then coming through, you can see more of the foliage and then also a bunch of foliage throughout here as well. And then I did a little bit up at the front as well. And I think this is looking really, really good. And then you just have the coach there. So that is what that looks like. And I think that looks really, really nice. And I'll get you guys a shot from the other side here. I think that adds a really, really nice pop of color to the whole area. But I'm also going to go ahead and take the passenger car from the Wild West train. I feel like that would be a pretty nice addition over here as well. So if I just swap these out really quick, we can see what that looks like, because I haven't actually tried this before. So we can kind of just place this on the rails there. And we can take a step back. And I actually really like that. That looks really, really good. I probably won't keep this here just because I like running the train around the city with the entire set of rolling stock. So I will probably put this back on the main line, but I'm going to leave this here for the rest of the video. I mean, there's not much else to talk about in this video, but I do really like how that looks. I think that looks really nice. And then figures could get onto the area here and kind of take pictures with it. I think that's pretty neat. And so with that, that is going to wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what I did in this area, make sure to like the video and subscribe, as well as click the bell notification so you don't miss any future uploads. If you guys have any feedback for me on what passenger car I should put here, whether it is the 2010 Hogwarts Express one for a little bit of nostalgia, or if I should keep the passenger car from the Wild West train here, or if I should make a custom one entirely, drop a comment down below to let me know what you guys want to see. But seriously, once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye for now.